on the gridiron or courtside, you know what time it is. It's
Sports Plus Life. Sports Plus Life.
Ringside or front court or field pass, we ballin', no. Knuckle up or buckle up. I tell it like it is when I'm on my show. Home run, slam dunk, knockout, or gossip dough.
Sports Plus Life.
Yeah.
Sports Plus Life.
Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's really good? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns back for another episode of Sports Plus Life. Yiddy. You guys already know what's going down today, bruh. So guess what? Guess what? Turn it off, turn it off, turn it all the way off. Now what? Man, it's hot than a motherfucker outside. Oh my goodness. I hope everybody is doing good today on this Monday, and please allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns, and this is Sports Plus Life, that there sports podcast where we talk about all of the necessary things in sports and all of the necessary things in life as well. And I'm going to repeat, it's hot than a motherfucker outside, man. It is. Last week, I'll tell you, job busted my ass, man. It was Prime Week. Y'all know I deliver for Amazon, and last week was something else. As far as my delivery count, very heavy. But as far as the weather goes, very good, very reasonable. Very reasonable. Wasn't super duper hot. This week though. So this week, and I don't go back to work till Wednesday, but man, it is going to be hot. Excuse me. I mean, 94 tomorrow, 96 Wednesday, 95 Thursday. Well, I guess it cools off after Thursday. But then the thing that annoys me the most about summertime, because, I mean, I don't know if this really didn't happen that much when I was a kid. I mean, of course, when you're a kid and you're in school, you can't wait till summer. Summer is your favorite time of the year. But when you get grown, at least, well, I can only speak for myself on this one, is that I don't like summer the way I used to. Not even because, well, I'm not a kid in school anymore. It gets so damn hot at times, and then all of a sudden, then we have all of this bogus ass rain. It's hot. It gets so hot, and then all of a sudden it's raining, thunderstorming, and all of that other stuff. Man, and I'm like, bruh, no. I like, honestly, fall and winter. Fall and winter is my favorite times of the year now. I mean, honestly, and that also means football. But anyway, it is Monday, June the 28th. 2000 of the 2-1. Half of the year is officially over. My birthday is in like 3 weeks. How about that? Ain't that a bit? But yeah, man, a lot to talk about. So without further ado, let's get to it, bruh. All right, we're going to hop right into the conference finals of the NBA. Things are starting to take form. As I said last week, it was the conference finals, the Final Four, if you will, of teams that had been all but written off at some point during these NBA playoffs. Now, we, like I said, starting to get some clarity. Last night was game 3, of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks. Now, since we last talked, the last time I had a show was on the day of Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Atlanta shocked everybody again, as they have done all postseason, winning Game 1 in the opposing team's building. They beat the Bucks, and then, of course, as everybody tends to do, once now anybody loses a game, we are in the overreaction business now. I mean, I've never seen people overreact so much when one game is lost. So Trae Young goes off for 48, and then all of a sudden, the Atlanta Hawks could actually win the title. And that's a real thing. That is a real thing. But of course, here we go once again. Budenholzer can't coach. Chris Middleton is just not the guy who's going to be a second fiddle on a championship team. Giannis still has his deficiencies. But then what? Trae Young is shaking Drew Holiday out of his shoes and then shimmying as he makes a three. that was funny though. But then what proceeds to happen? Game 2, the Bucks looked at Trae Young shimmy in and beat the fuck out the Hawks. They embarrassed them. And then last night in Game 3, while the Hawks got off to a sharp start playing at home, they had a double-digit lead. At the end of the day, Milwaukee proved to be too much for him. Now, Trae Young did sprain his ankle. He stepped on an official's foot. I mean, that's just bad luck right there. I mean, like, what are you going to do? Tell the official to get the hell out of the way? Trae Young stepped back into his foot. So he gets hurt. The Hawks are up by 7, but then Chris Middleton just catches fire. Chris Middleton scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. He scored 38 for the game. He outscored the Atlanta Hawks in the fourth quarter by himself. So now Milwaukee has a 2-1 lead, and of course you'll have people saying, oh, it's over. But I'm not going to count the Hawks out yet, because if you watched the post-game show, Nate McMillan said something to his team that is very factually correct. They were in the same situation last series. They won Game 1, lost Game 2, lost Game 3 on their home floor, and then came back to win the series. So he's not wrong in that sense. And you want to keep these guys head up, because a lot of these guys, this is their first time around the block. At least the people, the core of the team, and I'm talking about Trae Young and John Collins. Danilo Gallinari has been there before. Clint Capella's been there before. Lou Williams has been there before. But as a collective unit, this is their first time together. So you definitely want to keep their heads up. The only difference that I'll say is this. Biatch. I don't see Milwaukee doing what Philadelphia did, and when Philadelphia appeared to have the series in total control, they ended up, they blew leads in Game 4 and Game 5.
Bye, bitch.
And so I don't see Milwaukee doing that. Even though Milwaukee annoys the hell out of me with all of those threes that they take, because they don't have to. They're so much bigger than the Hawks. They could just dominate the game just by staying down low. This is why you really can't play Brook Lopez but for so long, because you're insistent upon shooting threes instead of using your size and your length to dominate this game and this series. Bobby Portis did a good job scoring 15 points coming off the bench. But I just don't see Milwaukee blowing those leads. And they don't have anybody that's afraid to take any shots when the moment of truth arrives. Even Giannis. And Giannis is not a good free throw shooter. He doesn't care. And Giannis to me has the shooting rotation where I think eventually in Giannis's career, you will see him become a 70 to 75% free throw shooter. Because he doesn't, his jump shot form is not bad. And he's gone on hot streaks during the playoffs. But he's a big. He needs to have his ass on the block, and maybe he's not going to change the way that he plays, but if he continues to work on his jump shot like some people don't do, Ben Simmons, then Giannis can become a consistent jump shooter. Now, if Giannis becomes a consistent jump shooter, oh Lord, look out. So right now, the Bucks look like they are in control in the Eastern Conference Finals. We don't know what the severity of Trae Young's ankle injury is, and he did score 35 points last night. But when I watched the post game and listening to Coach Nate McMillan speak, he had his shoe off, and it didn't look like the ankle was swollen up. It didn't look like it was swollen. The ankle wasn't Isaiah Thomas at the end of Game 6 and 88 swollen, where that shit was literally like a grapefruit. Where he really needed serious medical attention instead of trying to go play Game 7 of the NBA Finals. But players now built different. And I don't mean to say that in a good way either. But but yeah, it looks like the Bucks have control of that series. In the Western Conference, I said this series was going to be fun. It absolutely has been fun, but it looks like the Phoenix Suns have I don't want to say they've figured it out, but they are one win away from their first trip to the NBA Finals since the 1992-93 season, as Phoenix won Game 2. The Clippers beat them up pretty good in Game 3, and it looked like Ty Lue had made yet another adjustment to figure everything out. And then Game 4 was a throwback 1990s Eastern Conference Division slugfest, as it was low scoring, but the Phoenix Suns won by what did they win by? 4 points. The score was in the 80s, And the Clippers, they made a furious rally. They were down by 16, made a furious rally in the third quarter. They were within 1 point for about half of the damn fourth quarter. They had several opportunities to win that game. Honestly, the Clippers should honestly be up 3-1. All jokes aside, the Clippers should be up 3-1. At worst, this should be a 2-2 series. Los Angeles has to be kicking themselves in the ass with the way that they have given these games away, because now they're down 3-1. I'm not saying it's over with for the Clippers, because every time you count the Clippers out, here they come. But I find it hard pressed to believe that Chris Paul, who has had a 3-1 lead in the conference, not conference finals, but has had a 3-1 lead in the playoffs before, only to see that slip away, and this time be 1 win away from the NBA Finals, going home to play a game for a game that you will be playing in. Remember, in 2018, when the Rockets were up 3-2 on the Warriors, Chris Paul didn't play the last 2 games because of a hamstring injury. Chris Paul, knock on wood, has been pretty healthy. He's back from the COVID protocol. But it was an ugly game. And DeAndre Ayton has proven himself to be one of the best big men in the league. This dude can do it all. And he's proving why he was the number 1 pick in the 2018 draft. And while Devin Booker has been struggling since game 1, Devin Booker still tends to show you why the hell, makes you want to ask the question, why the hell was he not the number 1 pick in his draft? So it is Phoenix up 3-1, Milwaukee up 2-1 in their series. And no matter who goes to the final, because this is just one of those years. This is just one of those years where whoever goes to the NBA Finals, it's a toss-up. And it's hard not to be happy for any of these teams who makes it. Again, what I have not heard about in these conference finals was how 3 of the 4 coaches are black. I don't think we've ever seen that before. I haven't heard this before. 3 of the coaches are black. So shout out. I mean, shout out to these coaches. Shout out to these teams. So we will see. I think, let's see, game 5 is tonight. I know Kawhi Leonard's not playing, but I think the Clippers muster this one. I do. I think the Clippers will win this game and go back. I still think the series is going 7 games. Even though Phoenix clearly has the advantage right now. I think that the Clippers will come up big tonight, and I think they'll go back to Los Angeles to play Wednesday in a game 6, which I believe they will win, and then Friday will be game 7 with the right to go to the NBA Finals. As far as the Eastern Conference is concerned, I think the Bucks are going to win game 4 and game 5. I think they're going to close out the Hawks in 5. I could be wrong about both. I could be right about both. I could be half and half. We shall see. So that is the NBA Conference Finals report. Now, recently this week, there's been a lot of things going on. A lot of new coaching hires. The USA Olympic basketball team was put together. I'm not calling them a dream team because they ain't no damn dream. There's only been one dream team, and that was the Barcelona team. Everybody else was half a dream. That's it. Let's see. So what we have here is we had Rick Carlisle, and this was a couple of weeks ago, resign from the Dallas Mavericks. I don't know what's going on in Dallas. He had been the coach there forever, won a championship 10 years ago. Luka is acting like a diva, but what it looks like now, as Rick Carlisle has ended up getting signed back by the Indiana Pacers, he coached there for a few years. He was the coach for the Pacers when the Malice in the Palace happened. And he was pretty successful. As a matter of fact, that Pacers team that year of the Malice in the Palace should have won the championship. They were loaded. They were young and they were loaded. Only old player on that team was Reggie Miller. Everybody else was young in their prime and loaded. Ron Artest, Steven Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal, Jamal Tinsley. That was a loaded roster. But he's the coach of Indiana. And now Jason Kidd, who also won his championship as a player with the Dallas Mavericks 10 years ago and was originally drafted by the Dallas Mavericks way back when in the early 90s. He is now the new head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, fine. So that took, as some reports came out a couple of weeks ago, Damian Lillard of the Portland Trail Blazers wanted Jason Kidd to be the coach of the Blazers. Jason Kidd dropped out because for some reason, when certain guys are getting ready to get head coaching positions, we want to pull up things that happened in the past. And it just gets on my nerves, and I'm glad Jason Kidd did land with a head coaching job. But it's like, why are you trying to throw salt on somebody who is just trying to make a living? Cut it out. If it was done, what happened in the past is exactly what it is. It's in the past where it belongs. It should stay in the past. So shout out to Jason Kidd for getting the job for the Dallas Mavericks. Shout out to Rick Carlisle for getting the job as the Indiana Pacers head coach. And the Portland Trail Blazers just hired Chauncey Billups to be their next head coach. Shout out to Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot. I think because they're saying Damian Lillard is unhappy. They're saying that his time in Portland is pretty much up. And I hope that he gives Chauncey a chance. I hope they don't do what the Houston Rockets ended up doing to their new head coach, Steven Silas, as to where when you sign on the dotted line and become the head coach, you have James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and then once the season starts, you don't have Westbrook. James Harden is fat and don't want to be there, and he eventually gets traded to Brooklyn. So then you have nothing. You're like the NBA's worst team. So I hope Damian and CJ, and I hope they give Chauncey a chance. I'm pretty sure Melo is gonna speak glowingly, because Melo was Chauncey's teammate for a while with Denver and the Knicks. And Chauncey, if he can bring the calming influence to a locker room as a coach as he did as a player, I think Portland will be just fine. And because Chauncey, I'm sure he's pretty much known for all the years with the Pistons. The beginning of Chauncey's career, he was kind of a journeyman. He was drafted in 97, played for 4 different teams before landing with Detroit in 2002, and the rest is history. They have that famous 5 of Chauncey, Rip Hamilton, Ben and Rasheed Wallace, and Tayshaun Prince that went to multiple conference finals, went to like 6 straight conference finals, won a championship in 2004 over my Lakers, ending the Shaq and Kobe era. And then the Detroit Pistons made the dumbest move that they have ever made in their franchise, and to this day haven't recovered from it. They traded Chauncey Billups to Denver for Allen Iverson. And this is not a knock on Allen Iverson, but when it comes to being a floor general, Allen Iverson he may have been listed as a point guard, but he was a shoot first point guard. And the teams went in total different directions. Denver, who was a 7th or 8th seed with Melo and Iverson, you replace Iverson with Chauncey. That same season, the Nuggets are playing the Lakers for the Western Conference Championship. And that's just the kind of calming effect that he's always had on a locker room as a player. And I believe he'll have that same kind of impact as a coach. So definite shout out to Chauncey Billups. That's how they used to do it when he was in Detroit. They did, Mr. Big Shot. All right, now on to this Olympic team. The U.S. men's basketball team has been picked. Now,
release the hounds.
Now, the world has clearly caught up with the NBA, with America, when it comes to the best players. So, and now, in this age of, you want to preserve your body and load management and all of this stuff, you don't always get the best Olympic team. I think it takes America to not win. Over the last 30 years, it takes America to not win the gold medal for them to trot out the big boys. Like, excuse me, in 1988, when the Soviets won the gold medal over America, we were just still sending collegiate players. And I guess USA took it personal, because then we were allowed to do professional players, thus the Dream Team. And we toted out the big dogs in there: Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Clyde Drexler, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin. The only person who didn't belong on that damn team was Christian Laettner. I mean, the greatest basketball team ever put together. Isaiah Thomas should have been on that team. Anyway, So, and then, of course, 2004, we had professionals, but they're all young. We don't win. We don't win. Who were we sending out? LeBron was a rookie. Melo's a rookie. Okafor, Stephon Marbury, decent players. Lamar Odom, decent players, but we lose. We don't finish the job. And then the Redeem team in 2008, we're sending Kobe, we're sending LeBron, we're sending now mind you, these guys are in their prime now. When I'm talking about LeBron, Melo, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. We sent out the creme de la creme, Dwight Howard, when he was the best big man in the game. So this is what we got now. This is what we got now for the 2021, which was supposed to be the 2020 U.S. Olympic team roster. We have Bam Adebayo from Miami. All right, good player, decent. Bradley Beal, Washington Wizards. Second in the league in scoring. Devin Booker, low-key my new favorite player. Phoenix Suns. KD, we got Kevin Durant. We got to have a great one up in there. We got to have an already established all-time great one. Jeremy Grant from the Detroit Pistons. Okay. Draymond Green from the Warriors. Hey, he's put in his work. He's still been actively playing very well. So I understand Draymond. Drew Holiday from the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, defensive stopper. Made an all-star team. Still playing now. Okay, I guess. Zach LaVine, Chicago Bulls. Pure offense. Okay, now he can play. He can dunk. Okay, so all right. Damian Lillard. Dame Dollar. Yeah, without question. Chris Middleton from the Bucks. Okay. Yes, another one. People say, I've heard somebody say Chris Middleton is like a poor man's Kevin Durant. No, I'm not going to say that. To me, the person who Chris Middleton reminds me of, and if you haven't heard of him, you really have to look him up. But a guy named Steve Smith, not the football player, not Stephen A. Smith, but Steve Smith works on the NBA Network. He played for the Atlanta Hawks, made an all-star team for the Hawks, was on the 94 FIBA Olympic men's basketball team with Shaq and those guys. Let me see, who else? Let me see. Steve Smith, he played for Miami, played for Atlanta, played for Portland with Rasheed Wallace and Scottie Pippen. That's who Middleton reminds me of. He reminds me of a better version of him. And Jason Tatum also. Jason Tatum, that's not who Middleton reminds me of, but Jason Tatum is also on the Olympic team from the Boston Celtics. Okay, cool beans. And finally, Kevin Love from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not to be funny, what the hell has Kevin Love done to deserve to be on the Olympic team?
Wrong with y'all?
Dude has barely played since LeBron left Cleveland.
God damn!
What in the fraggle fuck is Kevin Love doing on the Olympic team? Maybe this is conditioning for him and he can get a chance to get a trade to somewhere, because you haven't heard from Kevin Love since LeBron went to the Lakers. I'm not even being funny. How is Kevin Love on the Olympic team? You couldn't find anybody else to be on the Olympic team? Anybody else who'd be qualified? First of all, for starters, this team, I don't know if you guys notice anything. This team is small. This is a very small team. This is a jump shooting team, okay? Kevin Durant is the tallest player on this team. He's taller than Bam Adebayo. And do you know why the U.S. Olympic team is so small? Because all of the great bigs are not from America. We don't have those anymore. Think about it. Giannis, he's from Greece. Jokic, he's from somewhere. It ain't here. Embiid, he ain't from America. DeAndre Ayton, while he grew up in America, he's from the Bahamas. I'm pretty sure that he could have been on the Olympic team. But I think instead of Kevin Love, we needed another legit big. And Anthony Davis wasn't going to play because he need to just make sure he can be as healthy can be before AD think about playing some extracurricular basketball. But it could have been some big guy. Some big guy that could have played outside of Kevin Love. That's all I'm saying, because we're small. The U.S. basketball team is small. Now, does this U.S. basketball team knock my socks off? Hell no. Like Jeremy Grant? What? You know, I mean, and congratulations to him. Jeremy Grant? At least everybody else on the squad has made an all-star team or two. You know, but okay. You know, hey, you know, I hope we win the gold. I ain't as confident. I think it makes for good competition. That way the U.S. ain't gonna destroy everybody. But if you remember, the Redeem team, at least in that gold medal game, they didn't destroy everybody. Like I said, I will say this again till the day that I die. The most dominant, the best put together team in the history of basketball is the 1992 U.S. Olympic basketball team known as the Dream Team. They were I don't give a damn how much Europe and everybody else is caught up in basketball. You will never, on your best day, beat that team. You would not come close to beating that team. Scottie Pippen. I forgot to mention Scottie Pippen when I named the players on the Dream Team. But nobody on their best day would come close to beating that Dream Team. Nobody. Not even no other U.S. basketball team would come close to beating that team. I know LeBron said that the Redeem team with him and Kobe would beat the. No, you wouldn't. And I love Kobe. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. You really wouldn't. Wouldn't come close. Not even a little bit. Biatch. And now I will turn my attention to the sweet science, the boxing world. There was another pay-per-view event Saturday night as Gervonta Tank Davis, he took on Mario Barrios, and Tank, as true to form, got a late knockout though. It was in the 11th round, and actually it was a very good fight. I actually thought that Barrios was winning the fight up until the knockout. Okay, I believe he was. Yeah, I do. Even though Tank knocked him down a couple of times earlier in the fight, I think Barrios did more than well enough to hold his own. He did very well. But Tank, that power, man. But, you know, I watched it afterwards because I have to see Tank fight better competition. Not saying that Barrios wasn't good, but I want to see him fight better fighters before I pay a pay-per-view to see him fight. Like, if he fights Devin Haney or if he fights Lomachenko or somebody, Teofimo Lopez, yeah, I'll pay to see that. But still, nonetheless, undefeated, Gervonta Tank Davis, 5'10", and he's built like a tank, 25-0. He really needs to start looking at moving up to the 140-pound weight division. That's junior welterweight. Even though I know he's got business at 135, that's where Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez are at. But there's still big fights on the horizon for Tank, definitely. And also, speaking of Lomachenko, he won his fight Saturday night as well, and he is looking for a rematch against Teofimo Lopez. Remember, they fought last year in Top Rank's version of a bubble, and Lopez did pull the upset. Lomachenko was at that point considered to be pound for pound the best in the world. But he's looking for a rematch, and if I'm not mistaken, Lopez wants a rematch in December, if at all possible. So again, boxing is definitely heating up for the summertime and in the fall. There's some little BS lawsuit that's out that's trying to disrupt the Manny Pacquiao-Errol Spence fight. We'll see what comes about that. But before we even get there, in a month, we still have less than a month, actually. We have the third fight between Wilder and Fury, and that's going to be lit. That's going to be litty as well. That is 5 days after my birthday hit. And nothing much to report in the world of football. I did see where Tom Brady was on LeBron James' show, The Shop. And I think LeBron said that he didn't think that Tom Brady was the GOAT of quarterbacks, which I found to be kind of funny. And Tom Brady said, well, I can throw the fuck out the football. And that's very true. And I have to say this, and I haven't been inconsistent. I do not think that Tom Brady, when you talk about quarterback, as far as the greatest of all time, I don't think Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. This is not hate. This is not anything else. This is not anything of the sort for me. I'm just saying, I believe the New England Patriots cheated to win 3 of those Super Bowls. So while he is a 7-time Super Bowl champion, I only honestly acknowledge 4 of them. And now, to me, I think Montana is the best quarterback. And that's just me, because I do believe that they blatantly cheated to win those first 3 Super Bowls. Whether Tom Brady had anything to do with it or not, to me, that is guilty by association, and he benefited from it because there are 3 Super Bowl titles on his resume. I have said this before. I actually think that Peyton Manning is a better pound-for-pound quarterback than Tom Brady. Now, if you ask me who's more clutch, obviously that is Tom Brady, because Peyton Manning, while he is the greatest regular season quarterback of all time, he would come up short at times in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, I just found that crazy. I'm pretty sure that LeBron told Tom Brady before they started recording the episode that he was going to say that. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't blindside Brady like that. I mean, if he did, I would find that to be pretty special. Also, as a Denver Bronco fan, Demaryius Thomas just announced his retirement. I guess he's signing a 1-day contract with the Denver Broncos so he can retire a Bronco. I still thought that Bebe had a lot of good football left in him. How old was he? How old is Demaryius Thomas now? How old is he? He's like 32 years old, maybe 33. When they traded him in 2018, I wasn't happy about it at all, because I felt like it wasn't his fault that his numbers had dipped. We have had just awful quarterback play ever since Peyton Manning left. And I thought that Denver should have he should have at least gotten a chance to get over 10,000 receiving yards. He was right on the brink of it. And this isn't just the Denver fan in me, but there was a point in time, because with the numbers that he has now, he'll be in the Broncos Ring of Honor, but he won't get to the Hall of Fame, unfortunately. But like I said, this is not the Bronco fan in me, but there was a point in time from 2012 to 2016 where Demaryius Thomas was a top 5 receiver. I mean, and this, like I said, this is not the Bronco fan in me. Just do the research yourself. Look it up yourself. Demaryius was from 2012 to 2016, Demaryius Thomas was that guy. You don't believe me? Just look up the stats. 2012, 1,434 yards. 2013, 1,430 yards. 2014, 1,619 yards. 2015, 1,304 yards. Oh yeah, okay, I said 2012 to about 2016. So let's just say 2012 to a 2015, where he was a top 5 receiver, and he will finish his career with 9,763 yards. Like I said, I wish that he would have gotten a chance to get over 10,000. I also thought he had earned a chance to become the Denver Broncos all-time leader in receiving yards, which is currently held by Rod Smith, the great Rod Smith. But congratulations, Demaryius. You had a hell of a career. I do have a Demaryius Thomas jersey. You were my guy, man. You were my guy. I wish that you were still in uniform with us, but you are forever a Bronco, and you will go into that Broncos Ring of Honor, and you have a Super Bowl championship to go along with it. So, hey, man, shout out to you. Definite shout out to you. Yes, sir. Yes, I'm always gonna show support to my Broncos. Hopefully Emmanuel Sanders will be in that Ring of Honor with you. Well, Emmanuel said, I still got some football left to play though, dog. But anyway, with all of that wonderful stuff being said, yo, wet a buzzer, wet a buzzer, wet a buzzer. All right, well, I did not want to lead off with this because I've been on such a roll with leading with sports first before we got into the gist of life. But I'm sure, as everybody knows, and yes, the music is still going. I didn't cut the music off yet. I had set that music up already to be there. I didn't know how long I was going or not. But anyway, we all know Derek Chauvin got sentenced on Friday. He got sentenced on Friday. He, of course, is the Minnesota police officer who murdered George Floyd with the knee to the neck for damn near 10 minutes. And I don't know how anybody would feel about that. And as far as the sentencing, I mean, I don't know how anybody feels about what the ultimate sentencing was. The prosecution was looking for 30 years. The defense was looking for probation and time already served. Like, that's arrogant as hell. So what actually ended up happening is that Derek Chauvin was sentenced to 22 and a half years for the death of George Floyd. Now, in the state of Minnesota, if this is your first time being convicted of anything of the such, that means that you, with good behavior and all of that other model prisoner type shit, it means that you can just serve 3/4 of that sentencing, meaning that there's a chance that Derek Chauvin could end up just getting 15 years of prison. Now, me personally, I'm going to say this. To me, he doesn't deserve another day out. Okay? To me, he should spend the rest of his life in prison because he unjustly took a life. And my thing is, while the judge said, giving you this sentence because of the position you held, and, you betrayed the trust of the public, yada, 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 which is even more reason to give his punk ass the rest of his life, if not the death penalty. If you really want to send, and I know you may say I'm being extreme, but if you really want to send a message to really stop these police officers from using excessive force, particularly when it comes to unarmed black men, then an example needs to be made. I mean, but once again, I will say this, and this is not me trying to be funny. I will say this, and I'll say this again. The protection of black people in this country is not a high priority. It just isn't. It's not. I'm just being 100% real with you. It's not a priority, because think about this bill that just got passed, is the COVID-19 anti-terror, just basically don't do violent stuff against Asian people. They look at it as terrorist stuff, and that's great, because nobody should be being violent towards anybody because of this pandemic. But that bill was signed very quickly because Asian Americans had felt oppression in this country for the last almost year. Wow. Oh, wow. But, and y'all know that's about business, because, the trading that gets done with America and China, that's all about business for economic stuff. But again, has this George Floyd Police Act been made into law? No. It's been talked about for the last year. Sounded real good when our president was campaigning to become the president. But once again, when things are not a priority, they just go to the back burner. The protection of African Americans in this country has never been a priority when it comes to making shit into law. So does it surprise me that Derek Chauvin, instead of getting, if he had got the maximum 30 years that the prosecution was looking for, I probably would be like, okay, all right, bet, cool. He's going to be in his, damn near 80 when he get out. Okay, fine. But 22 and a half years, which is probably going to turn into 15 years, is just another indication of how, you can the killing of a black person in this country, you can get a lighter punishment than if it was someone else. And the fact that this was a police officer who is sworn in to protect and serve, and pulled such a heinous, arrogant, violent, evil act, for him to get 22 and a half years with the potential of it just being 15 years, goes to show you how much a black life actually really matters in the United States of America. And any politician can say anything they want. They can try to sugarcoat anything, any way that they want. But until action happens, where stuff gets brought into legislation or otherwise an all-out war happens, They still don't get it. They don't get it. A law for bringing harm to Asians because of the COVID-19 spread can be made into law, into legislation, after less than a year of oppression, quote unquote, by Asian Americans. Meanwhile, black people have been oppressed in this country for over 400 years. The anti-lynching law that was brought up decades ago, decades upon decades ago, almost a century ago, has not been passed. The George Floyd Policing Act, because it's targeted at the protection of black people in America, African Americans in America, minorities in America, has not been passed. And we had to take to the streets for this shit, and it has not been passed. And is that a coincidence to me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because the protection of African Americans in this country has not and has never been a priority. Never. And I'm not trying to end the show on a downer, on a down note, but it just is what it is. It is. I was, like I said, I just laughed when I heard Kamala Harris say that America's not a racist country. And I'm like, you're too smart to say something too stupid, Kamala. So, it just goes to show, you know, there are a lot of people that are disappointed, but I'm just kind of like, well, what did you expect? What really did you expect? I mean, because to me, like I said, the dude should not be ever getting out of prison. But this is America, baby. This is how it's been, and this is how it's always been. And when people say it's a start, you know, I get it, but at the same token, I kind of don't want to hear that shit anymore, because it's always been a start before it goes back to the norm. You understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, we got Juneteenth. That's now a federal holiday. Yay! All right. Okay, that should have been done. That should have been done 80 years ago. I mean, honestly, it really. I mean, okay, yay! Clap, 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 clap. You know, I had to. I mean, if I hadn't requested off because I had to go DJ, I'd have still had to work that motherfucking day. You know what I mean? It's for real. So, you throw bone, you know, every now and again we get thrown a bone, and I'm not gonna just take that to the bank, because the fact of the matter is black people deserve to get reparations. Okay? That's why, like, okay, let me give a point of example back of a sports analogy. The NCAA, the Supreme Court just ruled against the NCAA, basically saying that they have been getting over for decades as far as getting free labor from these players. They are a billion-dollar company, and the laborers get nothing, and that's not right. Okay? And that's absolutely right. The NCAA has been pimping student athletes for decades upon decades upon decades upon decades, and they deserve everything that they got in that as far as that ruling goes. So now a collegiate athlete can make money off of their likeliness. So basically, they can make money off of their popularity, to make a long story short. But the point of the story is, you have what, in 2016, NCAA signed a $1.1 billion deal for the next few years for March Madness. That's just for March Madness, right? So moral of the story is, you have a company that's making billions of dollars, and the laborers aren't getting anything. So you mean to tell me that just because I'm going to this university, because I can dribble a ball or swing a baseball bat or catch a football so well, that you could make billions of dollars, but I could actually lose my scholarship if somebody buys me a pair of shoes? The fuck is wrong with you? And while that ties to what I'm saying about reparations, a whole country was built up on the backs of slaves that were bought not by choice but by force to a country, and was building up a country for 200 years. And didn't get a single dime. So, it's crazy because I was talking with my mother about this, I want to say it was Father's Day. And, we were talking about the reparations stuff, and also Kia was, saying how, well, things are heading in the right direction. And it's not that I'm not trying to be it's not that I'm not trying to be optimistic. It's just I have seen, you're not gonna keep on fooling me with the banana in the tailpipe. I see what the hell be going on. And when I mentioned reparations, my mom said, well, the Native Americans should get it first. And at first I was like, yeah, that's right, because they were here first. But now that I think about it, and this is no knock against any Native American, because y'all had a country unjustly stolen from y'all, and it is effed up. But when it comes to the Native Americans, here's the examples that I'll use. The Native Americans were told to get off of their land by force, not by choice. It was leave this land, go to another part of this country, go to another part of North America. We're taking your land. You either leave or you die. You can go on about your business somewhere else, or you die. We're going to kill you, right? When it comes to black people, we were taken from our country, brought here on a slave ship in shackles, and weren't even given the option to go somewhere else or die. It was do what we tell you to do or die. You understand what I'm saying? Do you see the difference there? It is do what we tell you to do or die. Work. We're going to work and work and work and work. And when your back gives out, we're going to throw you into a rabbit hole, and we're just going to get the next one to do the same thing, and thus far and so on and so forth. We're going to put the fear of God in you that if one of you try to run away, we're going to do something so just insidiously evil to you that it's going to put the fear of God into everybody else who looks like you, who might have that same idea. So it's either work for free or die. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? When I say the priority of our protection has never been an actual priority. As to where the Native Americans, they do have their own government. I will say that. Trust me, they have been done dirtball too, but at least they have their own government. We have none of that. None of that. It was work for over 200 years or die. And you're not going to get a single solitary penny of what we're going to, because of what we're raking in. You know why? Because you're not human. You are property. That's what you are. We buy, sell, and trade you. Oh, and by the way, undercover rape you. So we deserve reparations. We deserve reparations. Derek Chauvin should never see the light of fucking day again. That's why I said, just like I use that analogy as far as what would get done to a runaway slave. How come we can't? I don't want to sit here and say, well, damn, you kind of cruel. No, it's not about cruelty. No, what he did was cruel.
Bye, bitch.
What he did was cruel. If you want to send a message to people that think like him, then you need to set an example. Okay, you will never see the light of day, or you will possibly face the death penalty if you go out and kill an unarmed black man, an unarmed person, period, and you are supposed to protect and serve. This is the stuff that really, really, really gets under my skin, honestly, because black people deserve so much and are just thrown out breadcrumbs at a time. We're thrown out one breadcrumb at a time to just pretty much to shut us up and keep us in line. We deserve reparations. We deserve the back pay of our ancestors to build this motherfucker. Okay, we deserve that. And I don't want to hear about, well, we can't do it, because if you can sign 3 separate $1 trillion bills to send out stimulus checks to Americans all over the country, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever, then you can give the 45 million black people in this country, you can give us reparations. The problem is you won't. Because the biggest fear still in this country is black people ascending to power. That is why the protection of black people has never, ever really been a priority. And I must say, this thing that I got in between my ears, it does work.
Biatch.
It does work. I'm not an idiot. I just played one while I was in school. So anyway, this has been another episode of Sports Plus Life. I'm your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. If you haven't hit that subscription button, definitely hit that subscription button and become part of the Sports Plus Life family. Any questions, comments, and concerns, if you agree or if you disagree or you just want to hit me up talking about a specific subject, please do so. I'm not hard to find. I'll be glad to hear from you whether you agree or disagree with me. It's all love for me in any way. So, it's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. Y'all enjoy this week. Be safe, stay hydrated. I'm out this bitch. Peace.